Hey everyone, this is RPM with Nyameka. In this new channel, we're going to be talking to leaders in community, people that make a difference in people's lives on the ground level. These people are going to give us their views, their knowledge, and also their experience when it comes to issues such as race, politics, and also music. We're going to be talking to them one by one, so please subscribe and also click on that bell icon so that you can get notified whenever we have new content in. So sit back, relax, and enjoy RPM with Nyameka. Right, this is RPM with Nyameka, and today's episode we have the one and only Mr. Best.
Yes, it's good to be here, Nyameka. Thank you. Am I the first?
Yes, you are the first guest.
That's special.
Yeah, that is very special. So we just played a nice intro song, and I just wanna know what's on your playlist.
What's on my playlist?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I'm quite the romantic, as my wife might think, and so I probably have a lot of Sade.
Oh wow, yes.
On mine, a little Maxwell, and if we go more contemporary, Bruno Mars.
Oh, okay. I want to stick with Sade. Like, which song? Because, like, she has, like, some classics. Which one?
No Ordinary Love.
Yep, that is a good song. That is a good song.
Yeah.
Sweet as Tabuna.
That's a good one, but I think I like her kind of when she was nominated for Emmys. I think it was that one and Cherish the Day.
Cherish the Day. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, if I get real deep. You mentioned Taboo.
Yeah.
But Bulletproof. That's a good one. There's.
That's a good. Maxwell. He. I think I was. It was in my teenage years. He had the song. What is it? Oh goodness.
A Woman's Work.
A Woman's Work, and he had another one.
Ascension.
Yeah, that was his very first song. I remember. I love that song. He just looked very eclectic. I think that's what I would say. He had a different vibe to him. That's nice. That's a cool playlist. Certainly, what I would be playing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mr. Best, what do you do?
Well, man, I get the opportunity to be the regional team leader here in Campus Crusade for Christ. So basically, I get the opportunity to oversee all the different ministries. So it's not a president, as you would say, but usually helping the regions come together as family. So helping them with some HR work, as well as giving them strategy on how to reach people for the gospel. And our main goals have always been multiplying disciples.
Yeah.
So we win and we build and we win people to Christ, build them in their faith.
Yeah.
Send them out to do the same. These multiplying disciples to continue to reach South Africa for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Amen. So you work for Campus Crusade for Christ?
I do. So I've been with Campus Crusade for Christ now for over 20 plus years. And actually, most of my time has been here now in this wonderful country of South Africa. Most of that, of course, in Cape Town.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, gathering from your accent, you are not from these shores. So tell us how you got to come to South Africa.
Oh man, it's a long story. Where to begin? Besides the quick answer is the Lord. But I've definitely always had a passion to have the opportunity to go to the motherland. I think most Black Americans have that desire to kind of know where they come from. And so, of course, I don't know which nation on the continent, but it's always good just to go and see what God is. As a missionary, that's kind of what happened. I worked with Campus Crusade for Christ. Got the opportunity to do a mission trip. I think one initiative I did was Operation Sunrise. An individual from Ethiopia challenged Black Americans to do missions. 50 million people, 50 days in 50 different cities. So I was a part of that, which was great. But I think the first that really got me was I did a missions trip to Nigeria. And to hear, getting off the plane, the people saying, "Welcome home."
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, it kind of gets you, kind of get you right here. And then later, just to see there's a desire for the people that wanted to see missionaries that look like them. And so I was just like, okay, I don't know when I'm gonna get back, but I'm definitely, going to get back. And so that was back in I can't remember,
2002?
2001. I went to Nigeria. In 2002 was Operation Sunrise.
Oh, okay.
And so fast forward through time, I was challenged to help lead a long-term missions team to South Africa, specifically in Cape Town. I said no the first time. I said no the first time, but then the Lord did, He didn't give up on me, and someone asked me again, and I said yes, and so I brought my whole family here in 2009, June 2009.
Wow. So it's been a while, and I'm pretty sure you've come to love this country, and just with being here for such a long time, you I guess you get acclimated to the culture, to how things work, and I think it also helps you as a person to sort of have the bird's eye view in perspective, but also still get involved in it. So I want to ask you a very important question: how does race and politics fit into the gospel?
Race and politics fit into the gospel. Everything, of course it always, again, I think when it comes down to like individuals, even myself, it's just like, how do I see God? And then how do I see other people? So there's this theology and this, humanity, if you will. And so if I don't see people as equal to me, it will affect how people govern. And so if I see people not equal to me, or I feel a sense that my people are better, politics plays itself out in that way, where you will govern giving your people or your race benefits, and then treat others not the same. So I see it play out in the U.S. I see it play out in most countries.
And in South Africa. I obviously there's this whole thing now of just representing Jesus as a Middle Eastern man, not the white portrait Jesus that people had. I actually just this morning I was looking at somebody's post, and they have obviously the white Jesus that I guess the world got to know, and another darker, very dark Jesus, and they just like wrote the differences that these two Jesuses have. And obviously the picture that people have as the gospel is definitely or some people, I don't want to say everybody, but the gospel, the picture of Jesus has definitely been tainted. It has definitely just taken another turn from the original intent of Jesus. One thing we know about Jesus or God is the fact that they are perfect, but they have entrusted us imperfect people with the gospel. You mentioned something that was very important, that if you are to share the gospel, if you are to equip people for the ministry, you have to see yourself as equal to them. And so how does it work practically? That's something that is very beautiful, but in the practical sense, how does it look like for you and to you?
So let's see. When I first got here, I had the opportunity to go on the campuses, of course, pre-COVID. And so when I went, I noticed here in Cape Town, I can generally say, some of the universities reflect certain races or ethnic groups, if you will. So you can get the opportunity like Stellenbosch is very Afrikaans. And then you can go to a place like UWC, which is mostly colored. And then if I go to CPUT, it's mostly black. And so with that, the heart is making sure our ministry spent time, at each one of these universities. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But of course, when you go on the campuses, they do have all races, it's certain different percentages. And so I made it intentional, that I would make sure I'd go see, say, if all people at the different universities.
Yeah.
Of course, I probably shared at Stellenbosch. I probably shared with more Afrikaners than I did anything else. Of course, if I went to UWC, I shared with more colored people than anything else. And then when I went to CP2, I shared with more blacks in particular, if you go by race or ethnic group.
Yeah.
But I made sure to even though those were the majority, I did share with all groups, when I was there. So making sure I have to be intentional about it.
Yeah, intentionality. That's like the code word, right?
Yeah, because you could, again, as I witness, say I bring missions teams here. Say there's this one missions team from America.
Yeah.
And it was a weird thing that I would notice is that, when they went on the campuses to say Stellenbosch, they always went for black people. And I was just like, that's nice, but it doesn't make sense if the majority of the campus is Afrikaners and all you're reaching is black people.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things is like, why are these Americans doing that? But if you for whatever reason see people differently and say, oh, it's easier to talk to black people for whatever reason, you're just going to go to what's the easiest for you to share with. And so if you kind of more fearful Afrikaners, and again, and Afrikaans people are, they do love the Lord. They share the gospel. They have a lot of missions. But there are some people that don't know the Lord in Afrikaans ethnic group. So you need to share with all people. So that's why I noticed that, just in that context, some Americans, they see people differently. They say, oh, it's easier to share with these individuals, so I'm gonna go share with because I feel more comfortable. I'm not gonna talk about the motivations why that is, but it's just something I've noticed and observed as I used to bring teams here.
Yeah, and just to just thinking as well how complex that is. To some other people, at least as you explained it, some people it's maybe because they are black, it's easier to share with black people, or some people because they are white, it's easier to share with black people because there is that thing of it's a different race, and therefore you are saving this race from being damned into hell. So it's a complex topic. We're not gonna get into it.
Yes, very complex.
But how does your passions lead to the partnership and collaboration with Rebuilding South Africa? You've been here now since 2009, and in 2009 you've seen quite a lot. In fact, you've seen 3 presidents, I think. You've seen Thabo Mbeki, you've seen Jacob Zuma, and now you've seen the latest president, which is Cyril Ramaphosa. So you've been actually through 3 presidents. Wow.
Yeah, I think when I got here, well, actually, Thabo was already disposed of.
Oh yeah, I remember.
In his party.
Yeah.
So Jacob Zuma was already recognized, even though he hadn't been elected yet. As the leader of the ANC. So I didn't get a chance to experience all of Thabo, but Jacob Zuma is known all about him. But back to just the my passions and why kind of the Lord brought me here. I've always had a heart to see Black Americans, even do missions on the continent.
Yeah.
And again, I can go all the way back to Nigeria, and seeing how the people receive Black Americans as missionaries. Again, it doesn't mean that they're better missionaries. It just means that the people there were more open to see Black Americans and more willing to talk to Black Americans. So that was great. So. And even there is some would say an identity issue in the U.S. of Black Americans, not feeling connected or know what's on the continent. When I first got here and was inviting Black Americans to do missions, and I was like, I'm going to come to South Africa. They were like, ooh, I don't want to go there because I'm scared. I was like, what are you scared of? And they're like, I'm scared of the lions and bears and tigers. And I was just like, first of all, there are no bears there.
And tigers are in
Asia.
Asia.
Yeah, tigers are, so everything is on a reserve. So there are no wild animals running around. But again, it's some of it's just being naive, and even some of the propaganda of just the continent of Africa is mysterious or bad or just not as developed, and so again, when I got Black Americans come here for the first time, they're like, whoa, there are tar roads and electricity and but anyway, it's one of those things where I knew that we had something to offer to the continent, but I also saw that the continent had something to offer to us and Black Americans. And so I praise God, been able to bring black missionaries, and some stayed long term. I can think of Charlotte, I can think of the Jacksons, I can think of the Tompkins. These are all wonderful guys, wonderful men and women that would not have had a chance to experience this. And then of course short term, so you had some short term Black missionaries, and so I wish I could have brought more, but God brought the ones that need to be here, and so that's kind of, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, definitely. I think I heard this story. I obviously, and you probably know the story better than I do. But somebody was at a conference in the States. Somebody was talking specifically to Black Americans, and he was giving an allegory of the Joseph story. And that you were Joseph, you were taken against your will into a foreign land, and your job, what Joseph did, he basically provided food for his family when there was famine, and he welcomed them. They could leave and be free from famine. So the allegory of that yes, you were taken against your will, yes, you were ripped off from your identity, but what you can do is you can bring whatever it is that you have and share it with the continent. So thank you for that. So this is a little bit tricky for you, but I guess either way, President of South Africa or President of the United States, if you could be a president for 1 week, what would you do differently? Now you have choice. You have two countries to choose from.
Yeah, that is confusing. Two countries to choose from. So it's just like, there is a heart here, to have, people need to have dignity. And what I mean by that is it works both ways in the U.S. and South Africa, and of course being a Black man, I think about that, these Black men, and so how to give them dignity, which will help to uplift them, where they can see themselves first and foremost as a child of God.
Yeah.
And so yes, there's this idea of continually helping to make sure there are programs to help see them, to give dignity spiritually, but as well as physically as well. So something implementing some quick job creation, money that gives them work for what they do, money for work that they do, and things that they can that they can build, that they can see. In the U.S. right now, they're talking about infrastructure projects, and I'm just like, yeah, that's an idea that would be very beneficial here in South Africa. If I look at certain areas that say don't have infrastructure, I remember when they were talking about, getting emergency units like ambulance to certain townships, to certain people, but the dirt roads are so bad, But hey, let's flatten those out. You can get engineers. You can hire people. There are tons of Black engineers here in South Africa out of CPUT. They can build. We'll say if it's needed or not. Maybe plumbing. I think people want indoor plumbing. You know, these
Yeah.
we've been talking about these outside toilets
Yeah.
in the townships for a while now. Well, let's put down the infrastructure and the money in a week. Yeah, so it does take money and resources, and then you know, of course, South Africa and the U.S. There is this. Unfortunately, some people need to be fired. If you're not competent to do your job, you need to be fired.
Removed from the post.
And people need to be placed that can do the job. So,
Yeah.
so those things I can do. Is, I don't know if it'll get done in a week, but if I have the power.
Yeah. We can only dream, right? So, any closing thoughts and anything that you have on your mind you wanna just as like pearls of wisdom you wanna share to somebody? Anything you've learned in South Africa that you've been here now, and you wanna impart South Africa, and like just because you have been in for a prolonged period of time, you've been in different cultures, 2 different cultures at least, more, but 2 that are very distinct, which is American and South African. And if you, as an individual, there's definitely like pearls of wisdom that you can give somebody.
Pearls of wisdom. What would I share to anyone? You know, I think it'd be the same wisdom that's been gifted to me. You know, the idea that, you know, spend your time and your talents and gifts for things that are eternal. You know, and that's God Himself, His Word, and people's souls. And so that is, when I think of my time here, I think about, you know, what I've done to help people, you know God, whether they receive Christ or help them grow in their relationship with the Lord, or even helping a lot of staff, you know, helping staff to go to the next level in their relationship. So that's, you know, the wisdom I would give and share with people.
All right. Thank you so much for being our first guest, Mr. Best.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Nyameka.